something of a minor drama this week as Pentiment released on PlayStation consoles, and on PlayStation 5, people discovered that it actually had support for 120 frames per second, which isn't available on Xbox consoles, which, caused some minor issues on social media. Now, the thing is, of course, that Pentiment isn't a game that's going to, overtly benefit from having support for 120 frames per second. You can see the footage playing out here. It's not like, a Twitch-based shooter or anything like that. But at the same time, the idea that what was an Xbox exclusive comes to PlayStation with a new feature, it kind of follows in the tradition of gaffes that have appeared, seemingly, where this sort of stuff has happened. I mean, I guess the other one was Ghostwire Tokyo appearing on Xbox after a year of PlayStation exclusivity and running worse on the Xbox than it did on the PlayStation. Not to a crazy degree, but the point is that Xbox players should expect the first party output to at least be equivalent to what's happening on the other consoles. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Always.
The developer came forth to say that it was a bug and that 120 hertz support is coming. The funny thing is, of course, is that based on Tom's footage here, it's not a locked 120, which was the big surprise for me. John, is there any consequence to this, or is it simply, there has to be some tweaks made to tech QA and bad optics like this need to be a thing of the past if Microsoft is to move into this multi-platform future?
In British parlance, would you describe this as a tempest in a teapot?
Storm in a teacup.
Storm in a teacup. Okay, that's the parlance. Thank you for this educational moment. I think it's clear that this was intended to be part of. Obviously, during development, they must have reached this conclusion that, we can actually run this at a higher frame rate, right? And they implemented that into the PS5 version straight away, and clearly wanted to implement this on Xbox as well. So yes, it has been available for years on Xbox, but this is a new feature. It's very strange that it didn't work correctly or was bugged out and didn't seem to engage, however, given how... that part is weird, and the optics on that, I agree, are kind of bad, because it does, given everything that's been happening lately in the Xbox scene, it does feel a little bit like them, dare I say, disrespecting Xbox users too. Maybe that's the perception.
That's the perception. I think it's basically just a oversight. There's a series of oversights that are happening, which really shouldn't be happening when this kind of scrutiny is being attached to these developments.
Yes, that's the better way to put it.
That's a good point to put.
Yeah.
They needed to make sure that this didn't happen for optics and everything, and somehow that got missed. But this type of bug does crop up more often than you would expect, I think, these days. We're always surprised to see it when it does happen. That's why, that's the kind of stuff that we catch instantly. But, and it is kind of odd, though, that it doesn't even run at a stable 120 frames per second, given the visual target. And what's funny is I've been playing a lot of 120 FPS console games lately and have been consistently impressed with how smooth and nice they feel. And I think all of them largely look visually more impressive than Pentiment. Not speaking artistically, because Pentiment is actually beautiful. It's the visual design, but technically I'm a little puzzled by those results. And I think this might end up working out in the Xbox favor, because I would imagine it ends up running actually slightly better on Xbox once it releases, maybe closer to the 120 line.
Pray for the Xbox.
Pray for Mojo. Pray for Mojo.
Pray for them, because if we have another,
they need a win
Ghostwire
here.
Tokyo. Oh my gosh! I'm still baffled by Ghostwire Tokyo. It's not even that it runs worse. It's it also has worse quality RT.
Way worse RT.
What on earth is going on here?
Realistically, they should be identical or comparable, right? But the idea that a first party release is significantly worse on that platform, that just doesn't fly, man. That's
I think
weird.
just
send some engineers in from
especially when
California.
it's like it came out a year later too on the Xbox. Like they had time to refine it, and it actually got worse. I still don't get that one, but I think this situation will be rectified for Pentiment.
Sure. But I do think there does need to be a bit more scrutiny going through these processes. And yeah, it all comes down to this concept of tech QA, which we're not even sure the extent to which it actually exists outside of the development studios. I mean, we've had some examples shown to us in the past of, sort of validation beyond, giving a game over to a QA department. Stuff like automated fly-throughs on levels. You saw the stuff with Forza, right? Their sort of stress test for performance. Yeah. I mean, that's quite impressive.
Moon Studios did stuff like that too for the Ori games.
Right.
Right.
They would just
Hotspots.
They had this like thing that would fly around the Ori character all over the map like super rapidly and like push the engine as hard as possible, then be able to graph out exactly where the game was dipping and all that kind of stuff to really understand like, okay, what's heavy, what's not.
But there seems to be like missing a sort of sanity check.
Subjective analysis.
Yeah. But I do think it is best described as tech QA, where, you bring in a game like Pentiment, it's like, well, whoa, hold on a minute. The 60 FPS on Xbox is 120 on PlayStation 5. What's going on here? It probably shouldn't ship until this is fixed. Because, there's that element to it. I mean, in our sort of work, we've encountered countless examples of silly things that should have been fixed, but can be, it's like, why didn't they see it?
Yeah, it's always like you said, the sanity check, like sit someone down in front of the PC or whatever and just like hit a button and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, it's like, this isn't right. And I always think the shader compilation stutter is the best one.
Well, another one that's cropped up.
It's the most extreme example.
We are working. You were primarily working on an Alan Wake 2 video. And I said to you yesterday, why doesn't it launch in full screen mode on my PC? It just sort of launches minimized for some reason. It's like, surely somebody noticed that. And lo and behold, the patch version that you're looking at does actually launch in a full screen manner.
Yeah.
Months after release.
Yeah, I imagine like you launch a game and you don't know much about computers and you just don't think it ever launches because it's launching minimized.
Well, what was happening for me is because the Epic loader is so slow to load a game, I'd be like double tapping again.
Oh no!
And it would error out saying it's already running. It's like, oh, okay, there's that tiny icon in the taskbar there saying that he's actually running.
Shame you can't pull an Unreal 1. Back in the day, you could go to the Unreal map or the Unreal map directory and associate the maps with the Unreal.exe. And if you double click one, it opens up Unreal in that map. But if you didn't select all and happen to hit enter, it would launch like 30 instances of Unreal. And it works.
The inability to launch a game, more than one instance of a game, is actually a little bit troublesome, I find.
Yeah, let us launch it.
I'm always surprised that happens. Like, you can't run a game more than once.
Right?
I can't think of any modern games that allow you to do it, actually.
I mean, there's not really that much purpose to it, but come on. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, just most EXEs you can run more than one, like on Windows. That's the point of Windows, right? The Windows.
That is the point. The Windows.
That's what it was about. Yeah.
Man.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing to add there is just, in addition to frame pacing, just all these little things like video playback or like an intro sequence that's choppy. You know, when you boot up a game for the first time, the first thing you see is a video that's poor quality and skipping or not playing back correctly. I don't care that it's just a logo video. Or that it's the intro movie. That matters, dude.
It's got to work, yeah.
It needs to look good. That's the first contact you have with a game. And I feel like I'm going crazy when I see how games release these days. I understand they're big and complex, but like they gotta work. Like,
and it's the simple
especially
stuff.
Right away. And it's often the simple stuff.
Well, there were the black levels in the Halo video.
Dude, it took them like a year to fix.
It's like, where are your eyes? It's obvious. And then most recently, the Skull and Bones intro video, Alex. which was like,
it's supposed to be a 60 FPS video too. That was the thing that shocked me. I was like, this is supposed to be a 60 FPS video. It's actually, but like every other frame is not there. I actually do always think about what's it called, the Callisto Protocol, where that game, the intro video that plays behind the menu is improperly frame paced. Do you remember that? Yeah, that's wrong. That's Also,
You're
like
going deep
in
now,
that game
Alex.
too, they for a long time they didn't actually have a dedicated pre-compilation screen, and it would just pre-compile in the menu, and the menu would run at like 2 FPS as you're trying to start the game. It's like, this is not a good first experience. Like, there's no way this is what they planned. This was obviously the biggest band-aid that they could apply. But
In fairness, the Callisto protocol did come in hot. I'm
So
not sure
hot.
you could apply
Boy,
that to
howdy.
Pentiment.
yeah, no.
Or
Pentiment
Ghostwire
shouldn't be
Tokyo.
that way. Yeah.
Right.